to you today, all the way from London, actor and ensemble player David Ayinde.
Hello, Nina.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always like to start every one of my interviews off the same by basically letting our viewers at home know where you're from.
I'm from London,
I said
in
that,
the
yeah.
UK.
yeah. I said that. But you know what? People don't know that London is a big city. So
It
there's
is
like
really
South
big.
London, there's North London, East London, West London. Which area of London are you from?
Well, I'm actually from North London,
Okay.
but I actually live outside London. But I'm a
Oh.
North Londoner.
Oh, nice, nice. And what is North London like?
Well, North London is north, and South London is south, and then you got East London, and then you got West London.
Right?
So West London is kind of a bit more towards Heathrow. So if you know Heathrow,
That's like the touristy
Independence-
part of London. That's the part where most
Well,
people go.
the most touristy part would actually be you coming into southeast, so that would be kind of like southeast, London.
Okay,
Yeah,
is that
that's
where
it.
the tower is and all that?
Well, the tower would be, kind of towards southeast London.
Right, that's where it is. Okay. Awesome, awesome. All right, well, that was a little trip through London. Thank you for that.
That's right. But a lot of tourists, that's where they head.
That's where they go.
They
Right.
love to head there, and they also love to go to West London. So West London is quite, popular. West London is kind of like the West End.
West London, West End girls.
West End.
West End girls.
That's where all the theatres are.
Oh, nice,
The
nice.
theatres, cinemas,
Okay. So what happened? Like, is North London like a city too? Or is it more rural?
It's a city as well, but it's a neighbourhood. So it's more or less like people that live in North London, people that live in South London, East, West. So it's a bit like that.
More like a suburb.
Kind of ish.
Okay.
But you will see that they will have a typical London accent.
Well, one of my favorite streaming shows came out of London, Top Boy.
Top Boy, yes. That's more South London.
Okay, that's South London. Okay.
South London, definitely.
That was a great show.
Yeah.
And so now, speaking of shows, you are an actor. I'm always interested in the trajectory of the artist because you don't. I mean, some people are. Well, you can say you're born an actor. Some people were actors as babies, really.
Yeah.
But some people kind of have a journey to get to the place where they become an actor. So, what was your journey like?
Well, I'd like to say when I was in school, I was actually good with English language, English literature. And talking about schools, I actually, when I was 10, my parents took me to Nigeria.
Is that where they're from?
My parents are from Nigeria, yes.
Okay.
That's right. So my parents took my brother and I to Nigeria, and that's where we had most of our education. So that's where I had my secondary and my primary education. So in school, when I was out there in Nigeria, I did English literature, English language, history, biblical studies. So that was the line that I went down, and I read, as I said, I loved English literature. So I read books like Things Fall Apart. Do you know Chinua Achebe? Yeah, really good. Really good book. So Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart. Read Animal Farm. Oliver Twist.
Classics. American
Merchant of
classics.
Venice.
Oh,
So although I hadn't got into acting then, but I had a kind of literary kind of like a background, a kind of like interest. And then my other passion was history. So I loved history. So in school out there, they taught us history. They taught us mainly West African and European history. So that was really, really important. So things like the empires, for example, Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, Shanghai Empire, all those empires, West African empires. So, and those empires, they had powerful kings.
Like Mansa Musa.
Precisely. I love that. Look at that. Mansa Musa.
Yeah.
Lovely. What do you know about Mansa Musa?
I think that he was like the richest man ever.
Absolutely.
In world history.
Absolutely.
And I know he was black.
Exactly. So when you think about Solomon in the Bible, right, as being the richest
And
man
the wisest.
and the wisest.
Yeah.
Think about Mansa Musa in Western Sudan, richest and wisest. He actually went on a pilgrimage. He went on a pilgrimage between 1324 and 1326. Okay? And when he went on that pilgrimage, he decimated the gold gold lost its value. Can you believe it?
Because
a
he had that
rich
much.
empire.
Yeah.
Right. He was just
giving it out.
He was just giving alms to the poor, to the people there. And when he came back from his pilgrimage, he brought back lawyers, scholars, educators that helped shape the empire.
Right.
And that made Mali Empire a force to be reckoned with.
Well, see, and now you know about history. We can talk about this, and we're going to definitely get to your career. But you know about history, so you know that.
You know about
I know about Massimo, and I know that Africa is oftentimes depicted as being underdeveloped when they were the most developed. They had toilets, they had plumbing in like the 1700s, before England and before a lot of the Western colonies.
Yeah.
Right? So isn't that crazy?
It is, but a lot of this is amazing because they don't teach them over here.
No, they don't teach that in America.
In these schools, and
no.
But that's the best thing that my parents could have done. Them taking my brother and I to Nigeria, where we had some education there, because Nigeria was a former British colony. So because most of the time, they used to think that, did they speak English or not? And I said no, they spoke pretty good English. Forget about the accent.
Yeah.
But they spoke good English because Nigeria was a former British colony, and they had a very good education.
Well, most people in Africa speak at least 3 languages.
Yes, well, thank you for that.
Thank you for that. One of my best friends is Senegalese.
Yeah, well, Nigeria has so many languages. Okay, but the common ones are Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. Now, Hausa is actually in the northern part of Nigeria, and then you got the Igbo, which is in the southeastern part of Nigeria, and then you got the Yoruba, which is the southwestern part of Nigeria. Now, when my parents and I took us to Nigeria, Nigeria only had 19 states. Think about that, 19 states, and that was in 1976. My parents took me, so Nigeria had 19 states, and Nigeria was one of the top countries in the world. In fact, it was in the top 5. It had oil. It had so many.
Well, Nigeria's not doing bad right now. Like, if you go, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous city.
But just hear me out. In 1976, it was in the top 5. It was oil, and when the oil crashed, that's when the country
took a little bit of a dip.
Yeah, took a little bit of a dip. But
but they're back now.
but Nigeria is a very resourceful, very very resourceful country. So my parents are Yoruba. My parents are Yoruba. I do speak Yoruba, so my mum would converse with me in Yoruba, and sometimes my uncles and aunties. So that was actually very good. I stayed with my grandmother when I was when my parents took me to Nigeria. So she actually taught me the language Yoruba. So God bless her. So she was really good. My wife, she's from the southeastern part of Nigeria, so she's Igbo. Yeah. And then obviously you got the north, basically. I mean, sometimes people hear some negative things about Nigeria in terms of this and that happened, but it's probably just one region. It's not the whole of Nigeria.
Well, things are happening everywhere.
Yeah, it's not the whole of Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the best places that you can possibly go to in terms of going there, going on holiday, getting accustomed and acquainted with the people. They are very generous, jovial, and they will spoil you like crazy. Really? Yeah, they will. Yeah. Oh. So and if you have your money as well, you will enjoy. Yeah. But the capital now, because the capital used to be Lagos, but Abuja is now the capital.
Oh wow! Yeah. When did that happen?
It happened a long time ago, actually. Okay. I mean, when they took me to Nigeria, Lagos was actually the capital. So we're talking about 10, 12 years ago, a long time ago, actually, that they changed the capital from Lagos.
Well, that wasn't that long ago, because I still thought the capital was Lagos.
Yeah. Oh no!
So it's been 12 years.
No, or a bit longer than that. No. Just after, but it's been a while. It's been a long time, basically. So that's where. So think of it as like Washington. So all the political, decisions and things like that, they're actually done in Abuja. So that's where the government offices are and things like that, and and then power sharing in terms of power in terms of who becomes the president is normally shared between, it's shared around the country basically.
That's an interesting government model.
Yeah, that's it. But we have 36 states, and Nigeria is a bit like America. It has a presidential system of government. So, you know, we have presidential
So you guys are westernized in that way.
We are westernized, you know, in that way. I mean, we were colonized, you know, by the British. I mean, Nigeria got her independence in 1960. So, yeah.
So that gives us a little bit of an idea of your trajectory as an actor. It's kind of based on your rich history and, you know, your love of history. How did you take that information, your upbringing, and all of the, you know, literature that you were able to read and decide, I think I want to be an actor?
Well, that's a very interesting point, you know, Nina. Because I was actually in the creative side of things, you know, as I said, you know, biblical studies, I did, you know, history, politics, you know, literature. It wasn't until later, because at one stage I was thinking of, you know, probably, you know, going into, you know, politics. There was history there, you know, which I was actually passionate about. I mean, I'd come back to the UK, I came back to the UK in '85, you know, and there I finished off my education, and then I went to do a social science degree. I did a social science degree, so I did politics, history, sociology, and then finally I specialised in history. And then I got that out, I got my degree out of the way and everything, and then I said, you know what, I think I have a passion for, you know, film and TV. So I then, you know, started, you know, getting myself into, you know, film work. So I started doing some supporting acting work and everything. And because I was so passionate about, you know, film and TV, I enrolled myself on a drama course. So anyone that wants to start going to acting, you know, it's always good to get professional training behind you. Do a 2 year. I mean, in the UK, we have 3 years drama courses, and those drama courses, they are thorough. They are very thorough indeed, and they start in theatre. So you have that theatre background in terms of being an actor. So if you can work in theatre, you can definitely work in TV, but it's just a matter of time.
You can.
Yeah,
They're just so different.
So, but they train us. We, you know, they put us through you know, the necessary training that we need to, you know, go through in terms of the theatre, and then we also cover film and TV. But
well, they train you to come to America and take all the jobs from the American actors, because that's a big point of contingency with American actors.
It's a big.
But this is what I say: you guys train harder than American actors. I used to be an actor. Now I'm on the other side as a producer, and what I can say is that people that come, you know, British people and people that come over from the UK, they are better trained. You know how to do more accents. They sound more American than Americans sometimes. Then you find out Damson Idris is British. It's
absolutely
like, they're all British.
I mean,
and they train like crazy. American actors, they can't even do one accent.
I mean, they train us like crazy. So the thing is that for me, I really trained. So even though I was doing, you know, background, we call it supporting artist work here. But the thing is that even if you do background or supporting artist work, now it has changed because the quality is so important. It's so important because these productions, particularly in the UK, they want someone who knows about the industry, someone who's actually serious.
So you can't just walk in off the street and be a background actor and.
It's just not like that.
I mean, still have to have training.
You still have to have training, and that's interesting. And that is actually, you know, very good. So I mean, although the emphasis or the importance is that you keep on pushing, you keep on going for that. You keep on trying to get those speaking roles. You keep on trying to get those featured roles. It's very, very important. And obviously, you do your training. But the industry has actually changed so much now. It's changed so much now. And these agencies, whoever you sign up with, they just don't want to hire anybody as a background artist. You have to be professional. You have to be ethical. You have to have some training. You have to have a passion for the arts and entertainment. So you can't just say, well, I just want to. You can't just wake up.
Yeah, I need some
and
money.
say that.
Yeah, like
That's
like
it.
oh,
It's more than that.
So let's talk about, because in looking at your resume, you have an IMDb profile, which congratulations. 'Cause a lot of people don't have that. It's like, where? How do we find you? You have done a lot of background ensemble work, and so I want to talk about some key things in the time that we have left. One of them primarily being, because here in America, the way it goes is everybody wants to be the star. So you do background as a means of becoming a star.
Yeah.
Try to get a bump up to a one-liner, or this,
That
that, or the
happens.
next, and that can happen.
Yeah.
But you don't want to stay there too long.
No.
So what is your trajectory plan to make that crossover? Because you've done ensemble work on some very big things, Marvel things. You worked with on a Michaela Coel show.
Yeah.
She's just one of the greatest coming out of the UK. I'm just going to tell you that, as far as stuff is
I've
material.
done James Bond.
You've done James
I
Bond.
featured in James Bond, and Daniel Craig was wonderful to work with. Very featured. I mean, look at James Bond. I mean, even if you didn't get a speaking part on the bit, for you to be featured on a production like that,
it's a big deal over there.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. So what is the trajectory? Because I feel like you're probably right there. So what's next for you in regards to making that trajectory push from being feature ensemble to getting that speaking role, getting that? Are you doing the representation route? Are you doing the relationships? Because there are a lot of people here who are in your position, but not as lucky as you to have been an ensemble player on such important work. So what advice can you give them on that road and getting to that next level?
My advice would be to keep on being hungry, keep on being determined, keep on working on your craft. And what I mean by working on your craft, go and see films, attend acting classes. And when you're in acting classes, don't stay there the whole time. Okay? Do not stay in acting classes the whole time. By all means, go to acting classes, get trained, go to networking events, go to film festivals. Very, very important. Network on both sides. I would say network. If you can come out to the US, network, come for the pilot season, come for these film festivals. If you can come to London, it's the same thing. Now, as I said earlier, the industry has actually changed. Keep on doing your self-tapes. Write monologues. If you're a casting director or your agent, if agents are not putting you forward for things, you can write monologues. Write monologues. Coordinate or collaborate with your fellow actor or actress. Or otherwise, as I said, you start writing those monologues. I write monologues. I write monologues for myself. I see myself playing that urban dad. I see myself playing that FBI agent. I see myself playing that baddie. I see myself playing that loving, romantic, person. So, but you have to write those monologues, those dialogues, wherever they are.
And you can also submit yourself too,
exactly,
right?
That's it. So write those things. Once you write them, record them on your phone, and then once you've recorded them and everything, send them to the casting director and make sure that it is of good quality. Do not send a bad tape, or do not send something that you're not sure of to a casting director, because they will just throw it away. It works on both sides of the Atlantic. I'm sure it works here in the US too, that you will not send a bad tape to a casting director.
It's the same thing.
So it's the same thing in the UK. Do not send a bad tape. If you're not sure about something, it's better not going for it. If you know something, if you're sure, then record it. Put it on your tape, and then send it to the casting director. These casting directors will see it. They'll remember you, because it's all about you.
Fitting the part.
Fitting
the part.
And for them to remember you.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea of the game, for you, making sure, because these A-listers, they're still going to be there. So in terms of you trying to get in there, get a piece of the pie, if I can put it that way, you've got to market yourself. So marketing is very, very important. So you do that. Stay humble, stay professional, polite, be on time to set, and be nice.
That's
very,
underrated.
very
That's an
important.
underrated
Be
one.
very, very nice.
Being
We
nice
say,
to you so far.
we say that. Do not fight with your, with a producer, on set. If you have any issues, you can always take it to your agent, vice versa. But be very, very nice and professional, because this industry is a very small.
It's small and it's unforgiving. So that was a lot of great advice, guys. We have to wrap this up. But I always do want to let people know where they can find you. You're here on the other side of the pond. So where can they find you? And if you can let them know in an English accent, an American accent, please. I'm just kidding.
Well, you can find me on IMDb, or you can check me out on YouTube, or you can check me out on Instagram.
See? There you go.
That wasn't a bad American accent, was it?
No. It was a little southern. It was southern. Very good, very good. But you guys do those things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you know where to find them. And what do you have coming up next? Anything you want to promote or anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to doing the Hollywood African Prestigious Awards again. That's an award event that I come to quite often, so I'm looking forward to doing that again in October. My recent projects, recently, I just recently did something with Sigourney Weaver. Recently, she came to London, and it was so nice, filming alongside her on set. I don't know what it is, I can't say much about it, but Sigourney Weaver, one of my favourite actresses. I remember, watching her films. I remember watching her in Working Girl. So she was really good. Yeah. And I've done a recent, commercial, so that will probably be released sometime in the UK, basically. But I'm keeping myself in there in the game.
He's keeping himself busy, and he's going to be going back and forth. So if you want to reach him, he told you where you can get him. Until then, guys, that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week with more interviews. And if you're out there and you interview with us, don't forget, next week is our big rap party. So we hope to see you there. Bye.
Bye.
That was great. So you have a project coming up with